football podcast called Live in the Stream comes to you each week. Streaming recommendations during NFL season, it's not just tongue-in-cheek. Quarterback, defense, tight end recommendations based on opposition matchup. Here are your podcast hosts, JJ Zacharyson and Danny Carter. Live in the Stream.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Live in the Stream. I'm JJ Zacharyson, the late round quarterback, and as always, I am joined by my lovely co-host, Denny Carter. Denny, what's going on, buddy?
I'm podcasting with a blues brother today. It appears a cool daddy-o from the 1950s. JJ's wearing sunglasses because, folks, tell them what's up, JJ.
So here's the deal. So last week, before we left for Thanksgiving, because we went away, 6-hour drive with a 11-month-old and a 5-year-old, right? So that was enough, but apparently It wasn't enough.
It was.
As we're driving, Denny, as we're driving, I developed pink eye.
Oh,
like as we're driving.
Like how so? Like you were itching and.
So like we stopped, it was a 6-hour drive. We stopped halfway for Chick-fil-A because of course you're getting Chick-fil-A on a road trip.
You got it.
We stop halfway for Chick-fil-A, and as we're doing that, I get back in the car and I'm like, man, this is really, and so my son and my wife had some sort of like viral thing, and it like maybe gave him like some semi like crusty eyes and stuff like that, you know? And I just apparently got it a lot. By the time I got to our destination 3 hours later, I went from clear eyes, full hearts. No, I went from clear eyes 3 hours in to then 3 more hours in the trip. It was a 6-hour drive. We get to the location. My eye is like swollen and red, and there's goop coming out of it. Denny, I've never had pink eye in my life.
Really?
Yeah, this is my first time ever experiencing pink eye. And like it didn't hurt that much or anything. It was kind of like a little bit like sore if I touched it or whatever, like that. And then, you know, it's Thanksgiving. So my wife goes out Wednesday, gets some eye drops and stuff, and like it helps a little bit. And the next day it clears up. Right now, it doesn't look that bad, but I don't want to put anyone I don't want you to have to experience. You can see through my reflection. You can see like my lights and stuff that are on. You can see the little behind the scenes stuff, you know.
I think it's a good idea to keep them on. Honestly, I would be doing the same. I think you look cool as hell. No, don't let anybody tell you differently. Also, you had clear eyes, a full heart, and by the time you got to your destination, you only had the full heart.
That's right. I 100% lost when I got to the destination.
And then Eric Belair says, "Of all days,
of all days." That's all I'm saying. Of all days, for this to happen, for me to have this viral infection. And by the way, we knew that there was like some funk going around the house. We tested for COVID and stuff before we left. We were as prepared as we possibly could be. And we texted everyone we were going to see to say, hey, look, we got some gunk. We're not feeling great. But we're, you know, if you want us to come, we'll still come. And of course, grandparents and all of them are like, of course you're coming. We need you to come because then there won't be any grandchildren to play with and to have fun with. Right?
You got it. Yeah.
Like they're not going to say no to coming on to Thanksgiving. And so, you know, I was a little bit miserable on Thanksgiving itself, but since then I've just, you know, can kind of hear it in my voice. I'm a little bit congested, but I haven't been sick since having COVID last year. Like realistically, like my son's in daycare and I still haven't really gotten sick since he's had COVID. He's had like a ton of stuff. And I haven't gotten, I forgot what it felt like to be sick,
but you're not,
it sucks.
It sucks. You're not telling the folks that you actually walk around the house in a hazmat suit during the NFL season.
People do forget that. I do. I think my patrons for late round fantasy football jinxed me though, because they told me on Tuesday during my live stream before I left on Wednesday for this trip, they were like, man, what happens if you get sick during the season? And my answer was nothing. I mean, like I just work, right? You just work through being sick. Like you had your flu game, your COVID game.
I did have my COVID game.
Yeah. You just kind of do it because that's what you got to do in season. Out of season, you really handle it like the man cold that it is, right? And you gotta lay on the couch and experience all of that. But in season, you don't really have that luxury.
No. You got to power through it. I've had COVID twice. Both of them were during NFL season. You just got to go, baby. I appreciate it. By the way, in the chat, I have a few folks saying that they like my Christmas decorations, which I have here. Folks can see. And I like them too, very, very much. I always love bringing them out and putting them up because man, this gets boring. The background, the book background gets boring.
I should have done that. I'm jealous that you have something going on back there because I haven't done anything behind me.
I have a lot going on back there.
Yeah, you do have a lot going on. I
Yeah,
just have my Funkos and my helmet.
What I meant is that I have a large butt.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
As do you. Sorry.
I have a very, very big butt. Which, by the way, I'm now back pain free. By the way,
okay.
This is the second straight week we're talking about my ailments, but I can do things. I've been walking, haven't quite run yet, but walked for 5 miles today. Like I'm good to go. Like
What the hell?
What is that face?
Look at 5 miles.
Because it's like an hour and 15 minutes to just get out and it's a brisk walk, right? Like a 14-minute pace walk.
That's
right?
good. I mean, I'm jealous. It's so cold here that I would like to die. That's what I would say.
It's getting a little cooler. It's probably like it was probably like 40 to 45 while walking today. So it's getting a little bit cooler here too.
It's so cold. My dog won't go outside. Let's just say that. I mean, with the wind chill, I bet you it's like 30 degrees. I know someone's going to pipe in the chat and say, well, actually, it's 54 degrees in the DC area. It's not. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah. Someone will also chime in and say, well, here in Alaska, and just make us feel horrible that we're complaining about.
Right. Right. I haven't seen the sun in 6 months.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was able to get out and walk around. I had that back pain last week, but I texted our buddy Edwin Porras about this, and he's been helping me through, getting stretches and stuff. And I feel like I'm healing like Saquon. Like I'm a Saquon healer,
fast, quick.
Yeah. I'm like in my prime, and all the studies say that the younger the player, the more athletic the player, the quicker they heal. No big deal. It's what I feel like with my lower back. I am in peak dad fitness.
Yeah, I mean, for just a dude, you're in good shape. For a dad, you're in top 1 percentile shape.
I mean, that's not true, but I do wonder, like what the demographic, like when we do, because I'm going to be running races and stuff, I'm going to run a half next year and stuff like that. I'm going to actually do it. I mean, we adopted a baby this year. It was really hard to just be like, yeah, I'm going to still push forward with that. But I wonder, how they like separate by age group and male, female with races. What if they did like a dad category, like, what if
you don't want that.
Why?
You don't want that because you're gonna have some 24-year-old dad who can run the mile in like 6 minutes or something.
But what if you had what if you had a subcategory of age and dad?
I think the
race was large enough that you could call. Do you remember last year? Do you remember 2 years ago I ran that 10K? Right,
yeah.
I did the 10K, and I got third in my age group, and we won't say how many people were in the age group that were running the race, but. The smaller race. Okay. There were 11. I got third out of 11. That's not that bad.
Good.
Yeah. And so, I got a great cup as my trophy, and I still use that. I don't use it. I have it displayed behind me, but you guys can't see it. But I'm saying if it's a larger race, what if you had like 30 people in your age group, and then you said dad, no dad?
I think that makes sense. I think that maybe the qualification should be, do you have a dad bod? Kind of a square looking body.
I've had a problem with understanding dad bod.
What is, because I know what it is now that I have one.
You don't have a dad bod.
Oh, I do. No,
you don't have a dad. See, that's what I'm saying. If you have a dad bod, then I definitely don't understand dad bod.
Well, dad bod is like when you all I can, you look like a juice box,
So dad bod is shapes.
It's a shape.
No, yeah. but I'm saying like it's shapes. Like your body is shapes.
Yeah, but I don't want to say no definition because I'm not trying to brag. I have some definition, but it's just like no matter how much exercise you do, no matter what you eat and don't eat, you just always kind of look the same, which is like a box up above the belt.
Sure. But first off, I don't think that's necessarily you, because when people speak on dad bod and when they talk about dad bod, it's often like a legit overweight person, fairly legit overweight person.
That's not what I mean. Actually, Josh in the chat says skinny with no definition and a little gut. I guess that does qualify. That's not me. dad bod is like skinny fat. That's what Eric Belair says. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, okay, but I also think that there's body types where some people are naturally skinny, and then their dad bod is just that gut, right? Because they can't
Right.
really gain like the true weight. Like if I were to like stop exercising and eat like garbage, I could be 350, right? Like I have I have the body type to just be a monster if I wanted to, right? Like I could just go crazy, right? But
Yeah,
there
I
are some
actually do
people-
believe that. Actually,
yeah, my brother's 6'5" and he's skinny. Like he'll never weigh more than 215 pounds, even if he tried, right? And he's way under that. I'm just saying, like, if he really, really tried to do that, he just would never be over that. So like that there's dad bod from that perspective, I get, but generally speaking, I feel like it's just too broad a term,
Yeah,
dad bod, because there's
it
a
is
lot
broad.
there's just a lot of different shapes going on there.
There it is broad. I do feel for dad bod types who don't drink, like because mostly it's due to drinking.
Yeah.
That you develop the dad bod, right? And I mean not even excessive drinking, just drinking in general.
Sure.
So like dudes with dad bods who like no, I don't drink. Well, you should be because you got the bod anyway. So
Yeah,
might as well.
sure. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like people have like I thought like I feel like I have dad bod then. If you have dad bod, I have dad bod.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm not just saying that. Like I know you're gonna deny this. You're in way better shape than I am. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
but being
that's just a fact.
but that's like being in shape for like is there a fitness test that these dads are taking to say that you're in or out as a dad bod person or like that's the thing, because I there are plenty of people who have good cardio, for instance, that are still a little bit overweight and can still like you can still be a decent runner and exerciser and stuff and still have a dad bod
Yeah.
physique,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's
for
where-
sure.
that's where I'm at. There's just such a gray area with dad bod to me. That's my
We'll move on in a second. Diego Lopez says that a dad bod is like how the Supreme Court has defined pornography, which is it when you see it. And I actually kind of agree with that.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I'll say this, Denny, you don't have dad bod.
I appreciate it.
You don't have dad bod. I don't think either of us really have like dad bod. Like
Maybe I'm
quintessential dad.
I'm overly critical. I don't know.
I don't think it's you. I mean, look, I'm gluten, dairy, and soy free. I don't know if you heard about that.
I didn't know that.
And so the fact that I'm that, if I weren't that, maybe I'd have more dad bod. I think the lack of gluten is helping me out.
I mean, you're probably right.
Oh, I'm definitely. I mean, to be fair, I dropped like 25 pounds since all that happened. Yeah.
You're probably. If I were to stop eating bread for like a week, I would look like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
But I can't stop eating bread.
That's true. It's bread and I don't drink much alcohol either. That's what I'm saying, man. I could be 350 if I wanted to be 350.
Oh man, yeah. If I like slam beers every day, it'd be unrecognizable by like Christmas.
Game over. All these football players that are like, oh, you have no idea what it takes to stay this size. Like, no, I could do it. Get out of here.
We have an idea at least.
Yeah, well, I mean,
maybe we don't know the extent to the work that you put in, but we have a clue as dads.
Yeah, I mean, you guys don't like these football players don't know what it's like to eat multiple large bags of peanut butter M&Ms before going out there on a football field. I mean, come on now. They don't get it. What if you know how football players vomit on the football field sometimes? Do you remember the Lawrence Timmons video the one time? Yeah. Do you remember that where he was playing Miami and he's just in the end zone just yakking, just constant vomit coming out? Like, could you imagine if after the game they were like, yeah, just ate too many peanut butter M&Ms?
It happens. It happens.
It happens. All right, let's move on to what happened in week 12. We had Jordan Love. He had another great outing, 26.6 points. Gardner Minshew had 14.6. Derek Carr, a disappointment, but I think that there were some reasons for it. 10.86. Baker Mayfield, 13.4. So, a decent-ish, maybe below average week at the quarterback position. Tight end kind of sucked. Isaiah Likely had 8. Jonnu Smith had 0. People were tilting in the chat beforehand that Jonnu Smith ruined them last week. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But like your expectation for any of the streamers that we talk about each week is quite literally that their floor is 0.
I feel bad about the Jonnu thing, but Jonnu is not running any routes anymore. So we just have to forget about him.
Yeah.
Basically.
We had Kate Otten, who I thought was going to be a little bit better. He had 8.5 points. I mean, not horrible, but I thought he was going to be a better streamer than that. And then Juwan Johnson also had 8.5 points. Defense was good, though, Denny. And we felt this way entering last week. The defensive options were pretty strong. We had Denver, Minnesota, and New England. Denver 16, Minnesota 11, and New England 12. So defense has been really good again this year, as it typically is. But part of that, I think, it's just been easier this season because of all the quarterback injuries. There's so many defenses that you can play each week because offenses suck. Offenses are terrible in the NFL right now.
They really are. It's quite depressing.
It's very depressing. But you know what else is really depressing is this Jonathan Taylor thing.
Not for me.
Oh, Denny, my. I think I told you. I went through like a 3-day period in August. It was only a 3-day period where I was actually drafting Jonathan Taylor. Like I barely drafted him most of the season, because most of the offseason, just because the situation didn't even really play out the way that I thought because Anthony Richardson got hurt. But I have Jonathan Taylor on some of my best teams, and I'm tilting beyond belief right now. Like, it's just like, what do you like? His playoff, he was shaping up to be a league winner. Now Zach Moss, who I have very little of, is going to be the league winner.
He is. He really is going to be, because he is like an elite running back for some reason.
Yeah, all of a sudden. All right, let's move on to week 13. Denny, why don't you kick things off with a quarterback?
Yeah, let's talk about one quarterback whose name is Derek Q. Carr IV, playing against Detroit. Look, all of Derek Carr's pass catchers are hurt right now. We have Chris Olave with a concussion, Michael Thomas on IR with whatever injury he has now. We have Rashid Shaheed with a, quote, good little quad injury, according to Dennis Allen, whatever that means. So we could be looking at Lynn Bowden as the wide receiver 1 for the Saints coming into this week. We have to monitor that situation very closely. But I will say that the matchup is right here, because the Lions are the league's 5th most extreme pass funnel, first of all, this season. And JJ, I was actually kind of shocked at how bad the Lions secondary has been of late. Since week 9, no team has allowed a higher dropback success rate, and no team has allowed a higher EPA per drop back by like a huge margin, right? Like not even close. So it is a good matchup. Hopefully Olave can suit up. Carr would be a good play.
Yeah, I think if Olave can go, then I feel very, very good about Carr. I'm really, again, this is a very personal, nobody cares kind of thing, but I have Josh Dobbs in a league, and I try to play ahead for his bye this week. And so I picked up Derek Carr, and I have Chris Olave on that team.
Oh,
so like, it's this double whammy of, like, I got owned by Olave, this concussion, but also I was planning on using Derek Carr. We'll see. I mean, I did see Edwin Porras talking about, and he sends a newsletter out with his stuff. And so he sent a newsletter out talking about how, most wide receivers will miss a game with a concussion, but the examples of players who didn't miss a game were shocking good wide receivers. It's they force the issue a little bit more with those players, especially when you're such a needy team like the Saints are right now at the position. I'd say that it's better. There's a better chance that Olave doesn't go than does go. But I do think that in, Olave versus some random wideout that's number 3 on their team or something like that versus Olave, I'd give better odds to Olave. I know that sounds horrible, but that's just the way that it works in the NFL. It's the way that these teams operate.
Yeah, two things. First of all, someone in the chat says Taysom's package will be enormous, and that's not wrong. Like these injuries, all paths lead to a bigger package for Taysom.
Yeah,
in this game, so you gotta play him. I know last week was a little disappointing, no touchdown, but whatever. You can't be too picky. Play Taysom. Also, Josh in the chat says, "Dumb question." It's not a dumb question. But does pass funnel mean they are strong against the run, so they force the pass? Yes. I mean,
you can
for whatever reason, for multiple reasons. Usually, teams are leaning toward the pass against the Lions, therefore they are a pass funnel.
Right. All right, I'm going to move on to another streamer, and here we go, Denny. First time all year we've talked about him. I think Kenny Pickett against Arizona. The Steelers offense, how awesome is it that the Steelers offense finally got to 400 total yards, the literal game after they filed Matt Canada?
It sounds fake. I actually thought it was a fake stat.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy, right? So the Steelers looked a lot more competent this past week against Cincinnati. Kenny Pickett this season has 0 QB1 performances, no top 12 performances. But I'm predicting, Denny, that changes this week. Kenny Pickett is going to be a QB1 this week. And not only that, Pickett has never thrown more than 2 touchdown passes in a single game. He's only thrown 2 touchdown passes once in his entire career. I'm calling it right now on this show. He doesn't throw 2 touchdown passes this week. He throws 3.
Oh, wow.
Kenny Pickett has 3 touchdown passes against Arizona, the 7th best team in terms of matchup, in terms of adjusted fantasy points allowed. The Steelers actually have the 7th highest implied team total on the slate this week. I'm calling it. This is the game that Kenny Pickett finally is worthy of all the best ball shares that I drafted this year.
It's a good spot. I will say, my co-host turns into a Blues brother and suddenly he gets very bold on his Steelers.
Well, look, I'm wearing a disguise. No one knows that I'm actually saying
right. No one will remember it because you're wearing shades. I like that call. The Steelers, hey, you know what they did? They discovered that there's a middle of the field that you can actually throw the ball toward the middle of the field and good things happen.
Right. Did you watch the game last night with Justin Fields just constantly throwing these screens and not using the middle of the field whatsoever? And then they happened to get the game-winning catch to get them in field goal range on a play right down the middle of the field. DJ Moore wide open. Just so mind-blowing. So stupid.
Yeah, bad teams ignore the middle of the field, period.
Yes. All right. You got one more.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I have Minshew. Gardner Minshew. My computer's being a little slow. Sorry. Gardner Minshew against Tennessee Titans. Titans are a good matchup. They're slight pass funnel. I do think that in week 2 or 3, they were labeled the most extreme pass funnel of all time. Yeah. It really is not. That has not held up. Okay. Just so
I do think there is some anchoring bias about the Tennessee defense where it's they're this unbelievable rush defense and they're so bad against the pass. It's not that extreme. It's not that crazy.
No, since week 4 or 5, I was looking it up last week. The Titans have been middle of the road in most rush defense metrics. So anyway, they're really just an okay defense. Anyway, the Titans are giving up the 2nd highest dropback EPA since week 7, the 5th highest passing success rate since that point. They're allowing the 2nd highest completion rate over expected on the year, which was a little surprising. And the Colts have an implied total of 22.5, which, hey, you know what, JJ, you could do worse than that. So I do think Minshew is in play as a streamer.
Yeah, I'll show you one way you could do worse, and that's with Jake Browning against Jacksonville this week. This is a deep desperation play, but it's the 6th best matchup by adjusted fantasy points allowed. He's got the weapons around him. The situation's fine. He's shown off a little bit of athleticism so far. A couple weeks ago against Baltimore, he had 4 rushes for 40 yards. So only a desperation play. Don't play Jake Browning if you have the I can't imagine a world where a league has Kenny Pickett doesn't have Kenny Pickett available, right? I would play Pickett over Browning.
I mean, not in my league, man. I had to take Pickett in the 3rd round.
Sorry. Oh, right. I forgot about that. The Kenny only league. All right. Tight ends. I'll start. I have 2. You have 1. Juwan Johnson, I think, is the top streamer this week. He ran the most routes for New Orleans this past week, more than A.T. Perry. And he ended up seeing about a 19% target share. This script for New Orleans, even though, they don't have their pass catchers, it should be a pretty pass heavy script. As you said, the Lions are pass funnel. They should be trailing, or they could be trailing. And it's a plus matchup. The Lions are below average against tight ends at holding them from a fantasy points allowed standpoint. So I think with all the injuries to pass catchers, Juwan Johnson could see, a 15 to 25% target share in this game. I know it's a wide range, but I'm saying that realistically, when he's usually in that 10 to 15% range, now we're looking at 15 to 25% from a target share standpoint.
Yeah. Look, I have the pleasure of talking up Hunter Henry. Coming off a 0 catch and 0 target game.
Woo!
We love our Hunter Henry, folks. Look, I feel like you could just probably pick up literally anybody and be. I mean, is Mike Gesicki better?
Yeah, I don't know. You could one could argue. The tight end is brutal beyond belief.
It is.
It's like Juwan Johnson for sure, and then a bunch of dudes. One of the guys I'll talk about in a second is okay enough, but yeah, right. I mean,
look,
it's not great for Hunter Henry.
yeah, Hunter Henry's not the best play, but I will say I would probably like play a guy like Tanner Hudson over Henry at this
Would
point.
you?
I mean, he's seen targets at least.
I think I might go Henry over Hudson. Hudson's weird because he's just not running routes. He just sees
because Irv Smith is back. If Irv Smith's back, then it blows up.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our Hunter Henry spiel. He's our very, very last tight end streamer. But like in terms of ranking, Tucker Kraft though, I do think is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
because he's basically Luke Musgrave. They used him exactly as they've used Luke Musgrave this year. He had an 81% route participation. That's third best that any Green Bay tight end has seen this season. That was last week against Detroit. He ended up scoring that touchdown. Didn't see a great target share. It's only 6.7%. And I do think that he's, likely the fourth best option in terms of like target share projection for this team. But running a lot of routes, facing Kansas City, could see a negative script in that game. Not a good opponent in terms of adjusted fantasy points allowed, but it's hard to find guys on the waiver wire, tight ends, who are going to be out there running routes and at least the amount of routes that Tucker Kraft is likely going to run.
Logan Thomas, where does he fall for you in the streamer / starter?
I'd play Thomas
over Juwan Johnson.
He's probably in the same. I haven't done my tight end rankings yet, but I'm assuming they'll be in a similar-ish tier.
Okay. Because the folks want to know about Logan Thomas for some reason. So
yeah.
All right. On the defenses.
I have 3 of them now, so I'll start defense.
Okay.
Tampa Bay against Carolina. That's the 4th best matchup by adjusted fantasy points allowed for defenses. The Panthers are 31st in offensive touchdowns scored. They're last in air yards per attempt. They're 29th in sack rate allowed. They're bottom 5 in pressure rate allowed. I mean, it's a dream matchup for any defense. I don't care what defense is facing Carolina. They're probably not a bad play.
Yeah, Carolina down, horrific. They fired their all. Do they have enough coaches to go forward?
Good question. They fired. I can understand. I was curious by the Deuce Staley firing. The Josh McCown one made sense because he's obviously tied to Bryce Young and in the development there. But like the Deuce Staley one was a little bit strange to me because I actually think that like Chuba Hubbard's been pretty good this year, and the run game hasn't been nearly as bad as what we've seen from the passing game.
Can I tell you my sort of conspiracy theory about the Deuce Staley firing was that I think that he was among the coaches who probably said, like, since you fired Reich, I refuse to keep going. Like I'm leaving.
Yeah, probably.
And they were like, no, you can't leave. You're fired. Sorry.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. All right, folks, I have the Chargers against the Patriots. I mean, come on, man. Like the Patriots are giving up sacks. Their 2 quarterbacks are unbelievably inaccurate. One of the most predictable offenses in the league. I think even the Chargers get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, by the way.
Yeah, they can do. Yeah.
Zappy and Mac Jones completely collapse under pressure. So you're playing the Chargers if you can get them.
And also the other LA team is in play. They get Cleveland this week. I don't care who's under center for Cleveland, if it's PJ Walker, if it's Joe Flacco. Last time, PJ Walker's played 3 games this year where he's thrown the ball 30 or more times. And in those 3 games, he's averaged 2.3 sacks taken and 1.7 interceptions. So he hasn't been very good. I don't anticipate Joe Flacco being good. Like I think he's probably better for the pass catchers there in fantasy and stuff, I would assume, because PJ Walker's been that horrendous. But, this game has a sub 40 point over under. The Rams, I think right now are 3.5 point favorites when they were 4.5 before. So that's not a great sign. Maybe Joe Flacco moved that line by a point. Maybe it's a Flacco effect. But
so despite you looking like Flacco, you're not on board with Flacco.
That's right. Go Rams.
Go. So I have the Falcons against the Jets. Now, the Falcons are actually kind of bad on defense.
Yeah, they're bad.
Like real bad, and they don't pressure the quarterback or anything. But hey, you know what? Tim Boyle is also very bad. His metrics were not as horrible as I thought they would be from this past week, but he's still bad. So let's okay. In the event that the Falcons take a lead, hammer the run, the Jets have to drop back a bunch. Something good will happen with the Falcons defense.
Well, let me ask you this. I can't. So my other monitor is with my sunglasses on. It's one of those like I can't see it very well things. So I'm trying to get my cursor to bring this spreadsheet over to the main screen. Okay, I got it. So right now in my early defensive rankings, right, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers one spot below the Atlanta Falcons, but I think I'm going to switch that. I think I'm going to have the Buccaneers one spot ahead of the Falcons.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I do my rankings pretty quickly, like before the show, just to kind of have an idea. But I would, someone asked the question in chat if we would go Buccaneers or Falcons, and I think the answer is Tampa Bay.
I'm all aboard the Bucs defense. I mean, they're a little banged up, but who cares?
The last one, just a reference to, is Jacksonville against Cincinnati. They're 7.5 point home favorites. We got Jake Browning. I know that we mentioned him as like a really, really, really deep sleeper as at quarterback streamer. But Jacksonville, I have a sort of like it's not really a model. I just kind of throw in some metrics, some like pressure rate and pressure rate allowed type metrics and sack rate and stuff. And I just let this thing run and see how it would rank defenses in that given week. And Jacksonville kind of popped up as looking decent this week. So for what it's worth, I do think the matchup is at least there for them to be they're 7.5 point favorites. I mean, to be a decent defense.
By the way, on the Browning Bengals situation, Bengals were 18% above their expected drop back rate last week. So the passing will continue.
So to recap, we got the Jags, the Rams, the Falcons, the Chargers, the Bucks. We got Juwan Johnson, Tucker Kraft, Hunter Henry, Jake Browning, Gardner Minshew, Kenny Pickett, and Derek Carr. All right, let's move on to the questions. Denny, we got one from last week that I kept around that I think will be a good one. It's from @Rawls McCoy. It says, do you brush your teeth in the shower? Adding this to my shower routine has been a game changer for me. Before, brushing my teeth felt like an additional thing to do in the morning. Now I step out of the shower, dry off, and start getting dressed.
I don't, but I also have a different showering schedule than most.
True. Yeah, I don't shower till midday usually.
That's right. I don't shower till like 11 o'clock. So I gotta brush my teeth before then. But my kids brush their teeth in the shower, and they seem to really like not having to do that when they get out.
Wow. I see this as weird behavior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just strange. I like what it takes a minute to brush your teeth.
I'm surprised. Well, listen, dental Twitter is going to come for you now.
Yeah, I know.
They're going to say,
hey, dental Twitter, I've literally never had a cavity in my life, so get owned.
It's all hereditary, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's all BS. It is all hereditary. That's 100%.
But they're going to be like, you got to brush your teeth 7 to 9 minutes a day. Something ridiculous.
Yeah, look, like, come on. I get it checked every 6 months. I'm fine.
Give me a break. So I'm surprised though about your stance on this, JJ, because you are a fan, an advocate of efficiency in your daily life. This is an efficient move, and you're saying no deal.
I'll tell you what I do while I brush my teeth is I urinate. I be the T while I H the P.
I haven't H the P since college. Wow. All right. Yeah. No. I do tend to. Yeah. I definitely sometimes pee.
I pee every single, especially at nighttime, because you gotta let it all out before you go to bed, right? You gotta pee before bed, and I brush my teeth before bed, and so it's like the perfect combo. In the morning, I sometimes am ready to just go pee first, and then I forget to get the toothbrush. But yeah, I mean, I think that you can be your tea while you go pee.
You sound like you're about to do beat poetry.
Yeah, that's true. Next question @Charles_Sword. Do you guys have any hot takes on artificial intelligence? This is assuming you haven't been replaced by cyborg versions of JJ's model.
Well, that actually happened in 2019.
Let me guess how this is going to go down. Denny's going to say that AI is going to take over the world and that everything's going to be bad and that we're all doomed. And I'm going to say that there's a lot of good that can come from AI.
Yeah, that's right. You nailed it. We can move on.
That's literally all. That's all this is. That's all this is.
It's the worst development in history.
No, see, I disagree. I think that there's going to be a lot of good that comes of it. But here's one theory that I haven't dug into a lot, but I've seen spread around the internet and stuff. It's that obviously AI will become smarter than us. It already is probably to some degree, but will become smarter than us and be able to like the fear would be if you're someone who rejects AI right now, right? It's inevitable that AI is going to develop and these robots are going to be a thing in our lifetime, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so the idea is that when the robots have these feelings later on in our life, they will know which humans didn't want them.
Oh, you think that's
You
real?
better want the robots, Denny.
I don't want the robots. I don't want.
Well, I'm gonna need a co-host in 25 years. Then
I'm a Luddite.
Line up.
I'm a Luddite. I say destroy all the AI programs now. Destroy it all. Tear down the infrastructure. Ban it. Make it illegal throughout the world. It's got to go.
There's gonna be a lot, like within the next 2 to 3 years. There's gonna be a lot of bad that happens from AI. I do think that's gonna happen, but I think like a lot of things, there will be good that like the amount like what we're going to be able to do with medicine because of AI is going to be insane.
And it's going to be available to exactly no one.
We'll see.
It's not going to help humanity. It's going to help people who have 3 yachts. That's the only thing. AI will not serve humanity at all. It will serve like a tiny sliver of the population that controls it. Also, it's going to be programmed by awful people with awful inputs, right? I actually recently wrote about the terrors of AI politically on my Bad Faith Times site. If folks want to check that out, I'm terrified, man. Nothing good's going to happen. You think it's not going to be good for anybody.
Yeah, look, I told you this is exactly how the conversation was going to go. That I can see both sides, and Denny's just saying it's terrible.
I mean, I get worked up. I get worked out like emotionally about it because I'm terrified for my kids to have to live through literally like the events of the Matrix.
Yeah, but it could be cool, man.
Oh, I mean, yeah, if they can download Kung Fu into their brain, that'd be cool. But that's not gonna. You're gonna have to be in the top 1%.
Yeah, Joey says that AI will dominate the fantasy football landscape.
Okay, I hate to keep talking about things I've written, but I once wrote a book that's on Amazon, and in it, a guy develops an AI program for fantasy football and goes insane. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I mean, so do you think? I mean, clearly, like fantasy football analysis has shifted towards some crazy data analysis and machine learning type stuff. And the thing that I'll say though is that I don't think like there are people that are very good at what they're doing with like machine learning and stuff like that. But I still think that we're in a period probably over the next 10 years or so where it's not so automatic that stuff is going to be better than what someone's just analysis that they're doing right now is, if that makes sense, right? Like the way that we approach the game right now.
Right.
Because there's still a very, very large field component to this.
Yeah, I think there is, but I also think that like the advances in fantasy football projections, like weekly projections, is a good glimpse into what could happen, because back in like 2015, 2016, the projections were not what they are today. Therefore, like chalky lineups, or you could get away from the chalk back then and still be okay. Today you can't get away from the chalk because the chalk is automatic because the projections are so good. So I do think that that's the direction we're headed. Yeah,
for sure. Next question at Mana_dork. How do you deal with the crippling guilt of being a parent? Whenever my wife and I plan a date night, where the kids stay at the grandparent. It says, whenever my wife and I plan a date night where the kids stay at the grandparents, period. We end up being excited leading up to the date, only to end up missing / worrying about our kids the entire time.
That happens. That does happen. I've been there. Yeah, you end up talking about the kids half the time. But I would suggest trying to unplug, because it is important for the old relationship to stop parenting once in a while.
Yeah, and not only that, but the relationship itself is what is the foundation of the family.
Yes, right.
You need to, like, when you can understand that you need that needs to be there for your kids. It's a lot easier to then unplug and get away from them. They need to be independent too. Like you feel some guilt. Like I remember when Avery first went to daycare, right? Because she went pretty early, because my wife and I both work, right? And she went pretty early in her life, and there was a lot of guilt of like, she's, we're not around her during the day and all this kind of stuff. And it was the greatest experience for her. She has some of her best friends from there, and she learned so much, and she's so adaptive now to different things. Whatever we throw at her, she's very like kids learn. Like you don't have to be on top of them 24/7. I think it's important for them to be very independent.
Our generation has been really, really bad with granting independence to kids.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree.
There's been some research I read about in New York Times, I think, recently, where it says that like as parents, millennials need to ease the F up on their kids and give them. But you know what we are, JJ? We are the Dateline generation. We grew up inundated by media saying that as soon as your child is not in your sight, they will be kidnapped.
Right.
Like that. That's how we grew up. Like,
right.
And the Adam Walsh era, however you want to call it. So we had that. The fear is real, and I'm not saying to dismiss that, but I can tell you that my kids, especially my son, they're never, I don't know, I want to say happier, I guess, than when I've granted them some independence.
Yeah,
and
of course.
They can feel like they were in charge of themselves, even for a little while.
Yeah. That's why, like, even playtime, when Avery gets home from school and like we want her to have like 20 minutes of like, you're controlling this environment, use your imagination. She plays teacher every night. It gets very annoying at this. You know that phase of like, I'm your teacher, listen to me. It's like, my God, at some point. Yeah, it is. It is that I feel more guilty about is when I like am like, oh, this again. But it's like I try to stay present, try to remember that she's not gonna be like this forever, and I gotta enjoy it as much as possible. Yeah. But it gets a lot sometimes, right? Where you're just like, I just need to chill because I had a long day of work, and then she's like, I'm the teacher, sit down. Da 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 da. It's like, all right,
and you're like, no,
yeah,
but you know, here's the thing that you know, in the moment. It can be a little irritating. In 15 years, you would chop off your left thumb to be able to have that moment back.
That's exactly right. And so I try to always remember that and enjoy those moments, even when she is being the strict, obnoxious teacher. All right, next question. At Steak Knife Ob, as we know, Jake was bigger in school, and they called him Steak. And then what do you have? He brought a knife to school or something like that? Is that what it was?
I don't think it was that. Was it that?
I think it might have been that. I think it was something crazy.
No, got pretty dark, I guess.
We got to be nice to Steak Knife Ob. Favorite Pop-Tart flavor?
I don't remember Pop-Tarts. I don't. Let me look up.
I haven't had a Pop-Tart in probably over a decade. But the answer to this is the classic strawberry flavor, like the classic. Because I'll tell you what, if you say s'mores, Benny, I'm gonna close this tab in this browser, and this show's gonna be done forever.
Okay, I'm looking into it strongly. All right, so we have. Oh yeah, no, you know what it is? Obviously, it's frosted brown sugar cinnamon.
Okay, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
The
s'mores. You ever get the ick, right? Whenever you eat something and like you if you eat too much of something, like eggs give me the ick all the time. If I eat too many eggs, right? If I can have like maybe 4 eggs, right? But if I eat like, I don't know, 6 or 7 eggs, does that sound like a lot of eggs? I don't know.
Sounds like a lot. That sounds like more than a few eggs.
Yeah, look, if I ate a lot of eggs, and if I'm putting together some sort of like dish and I put a ton of eggs, at the end of that dish, I got the icks for eggs. Like I can barely consume them anymore because it's just too many eggs.
Because you have just eaten more eggs than any human should have.
Hydro 8 on in our chat says that's so many.
I mean, I do have a friend who will like casually be like, I'm not hungry. I had 10 eggs earlier. I'm like, so wait, it took you an hour to crack eggs? That like that? That's how hungry you were?
All right, listen. All right, you're making a dinner. You're making like an omelet or something. Not even an omelet. Just like a scramble with like some veggies in it or something, right? And then probably some everything bagel seasoning on top. That's a good combo. How many eggs are you making for a meal, for a legit meal, to feel full and to feel good afterwards?
3.
That is so few eggs.
Really?
I'm not getting full off of 3 eggs. Are you kidding me?
No, you're a big boy.
You want to talk about dad bod? There's no way you have dad bod if you're eating 3 eggs in a meal.
3 eggs is significant, man.
Three eggs is not a lot of food.
I feel like you're way off here.
Man, I eat so. I do probably have like a 3,000 calorie a day diet. To be fair,
I don't know what mine is, but I know I'll eat 3 eggs and feel pretty damn full. 6
wait,
eggs.
you'll feel legit. So like you haven't eaten since lunch, and you're going to dinner, and you'll have 3 eggs. 3 eggs.
I mean, with some bread.
Okay, but 3 eggs and bread. You like toast?
Toast, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying 3? Is there anything you're just eating 3 eggs? Everyone's on your side here, for the record.
Oh, I know.
I find this insane. I'm like a min 3 eggs. It's 3 to 6 for me.
Bethany Q. Peters the fourth says 3 eggs is like 25 grams of protein. That's a lot.
You need more. I'm not getting full from that. I'm not getting full from 3 eggs.
I mean, I'm not like bursting at, like my belt's not about to pop off at 3 eggs, but like I feel pretty full. Man, this is wild. This is wild. I will say this about getting back to the Pop-Tarts. Here's a rundown, okay? Frosted blueberry, disgusting. The frosted brown sugar cinnamon, good. The one that you like, wait, what is the one you like?
The strawberry.
Strawberry.
Like
strawberry.
Strawberry.
Yeah. Right. Unfrosted strawberry is good. Frosted raspberry, horrifying. I mean, all of the frosted ones except for the one I like are terrible.
Yeah. The chat's going crazy over my egg take right now. I'm kind of ashamed.
Yeah, I mean, people are unsubbing from you.
Because I'll eat. Look. I don't. 6 is a lot. 6 is a lot. That's not real. I will say though that legitimately, Jason just said JJ dressed like a cartoon 90s wolf claims to eat 3 to 6 eggs. Hide the coops.
The chickens are in danger. They don't even know.
Like this is the 6. Look, okay, 6 eggs might be excessive, but 5 eggs is not that many eggs.
Oh, you're bringing it down. Okay.
5 eggs. 5 eggs is not that many eggs. It's not that many eggs. You can eat 5 eggs easily.
JJ, that's like 2 enormous omelets.
No. You know what? I might film myself for patrons eating. I'll eat 7 eggs. I don't care. It's not that many eggs. If you just scramble them up, you put some veggies in it, right? And then maybe if you have some like leftover ground turkey or something like that, and you get a bowl and you just consume that stuff and you inhale it, and you're good for dinner.
Your body's begging for carbs. That's the issue here.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's likely the Pelotoning. This is likely all the Pelotoning.
Okay, you know what? We can make sense of this. If we talked another 30 minutes about this, we could make sense of your weird egg thing.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, when I eat a lot of the eggs, it's clearly I'm consuming a lot of them. When I'm eating a lot of them, I do get the ick and I have to stop. So maybe the stopping is like no one's really experienced this before because you're stopping at 3 eggs.
I haven't pushed the limits. I haven't been red pilled on eggs yet. I don't know.
See, here's Bethany Q. Peters who says JJ's issue may be that he can't eat dairy, soy, gluten, etc., etc., etc. So if eggs are one of the few things he can eat, he's got to go ham.
Oh,
that's not really true, but I'll take it.
Also, ham in the eggs is good.
5 eggs is a lot. The 4 egg omelet at Original Pancake House. Okay, but that's like fake eggs. Those are not even real eggs.
Those don't count.
Yeah, those are like out of a carton. They're not even real. but yeah, I am powering through the ick to eat 3 more eggs.
The chat is usually very much against me. I'm so glad to see them just turn like hell against you.
5 eggs is not a lot from the standpoint of like, I'm going to be bloated after eating 5 eggs. That's my point. That's my point.
All right.
Anyone here could eat 5 eggs.
Oh, stop.
You can eat 5 eggs.
I mean, I could, but
you're not going to be full. You're not going to be like overly full after 5 eggs.
No.
You're just not. You're not. Next question. At @boo_duh_pest. How old are you in your head? I'm 35, but I feel like I've actually been 28 for the last 7 years. It's a good question.
In my head, I'm like 37.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, after pre throwing out my back last week, I would have said 28's about where I'm at. I feel like I've been in my late 20s, early 30s and I feel like I'm probably gonna be that way for a while.
Yeah.
Like like kids are the only reason why I don't feel that way.
Right. Just so everyone, I am 40, but I often think of myself as like mid to late 30s.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's fair. But I do feel I feel healthier now than I did 5 years ago. So that's part of the thing too.
Yeah.
Like that's I feel better. I feel more energetic. That's probably why I'm eating 6 eggs.
And yet you have conjunctivitis. That's curious.
Yeah, very, very curious. Bethany did say, I just ate 3 eggs, but I also ate 3 chicken sausages.
Oh, she shared it with her dog, Kelsey.
Yeah, okay. But still, like you can eat more than 3 eggs, people. All right, I'm over it. I'm over it.
Right.
Next question.
You're not.
At With Parks. I'm convinced Reese's Cups, speaking of the icks, this is kind of an ick. I'm convinced Reese's Cups, not Reese's for the record, taste differently based on their shape. With that in mind, how would you rank the following? Christmas tree, pumpkin, Easter egg, heart, regular Reese's Cup.
I think anything with like the rounded areas, like a Christmas tree, that tastes different than the cup for sure.
Yeah, you know why? It's because there's a lot more peanut butter. The peanut butter to chocolate ratio is a lot greater than it is with a regular Reese's Cup, which is why, again, speaking of the ick, if you were to just like consume just that much peanut butter in there, then you would start to get a stomach ache.
That's too much. Yeah.
Or as my daughter used to say, a stomach ache.
Stomach. My daughter the other day called Italy Italia.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't correct her. That's what it is now, JJ. It's Italia.
Yeah, I mean, in their world, they're right.
So, look, yes, the Christmas tree Reese's, it's too much. It's too much. I'll have like 1 bite of it and I'm good. I don't need all 6 bites of that thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with it. There's a food take that I'm gonna have a lot of agreement with listeners and such, is that you can't eat a lot of the Christmas tree or the egg or any of the thick boys, the thick Reese's.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I'm actually getting grossed out now thinking about it.
Right. There's just too much peanut because it's not even real peanut butter. It's just it's like this like weird. It's enough peanut butter in the regular Reese's Cup because you have the thick edges to get a lot of chocolate to combine that. I don't even eat these anymore, but you get the thick chocolate around it. It's a lot easier to consume that much peanut butter. But when it's way more peanut butter than chocolate, that's the problem.
I think the main discussion here is that chocolate is not all that great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat it. I haven't had chocolate in about 5 years, so I'm not.
Wait, is that the soy, gluten, and dairy thing?
Yeah, dairy. It's got milk in it. You know, I'm not putting milk in my body.
I mean, you're not missing out. Chocolate's not good.
Yeah. Next question. At Sporty Gandalf. Despite having a 7-month-old, I stayed up until 11:30 Eastern time last night to watch my fantasy team lose on the final throw to DJ Moore, who my Panthers traded away and whose nightmare owner just fired their coach 11 games in. How does one make the death tilt stop? We didn't really talk about, we kind of briefly talked about the Panthers. How big of a D-fire is that franchise right now?
It's a huge D-fire. I mean, did you hear like David Tepper actually gave an interview today where he was like, I want a head coach that'll be here for 20 or 30 years. I want this coach to give my eulogy in 30 years. That's what he said. How weird of a guy is this?
Yeah, I know. He and I had really high hopes because he's a Yinzer and he's living in the city that I live in now. And I was excited to get you could have, like, my hope was that it was going to be more of like a Cuban situation where it's kind of fun, like where there's like a lot of entertainment to it. And he's like a logical, like Mark Cuban, for a billionaire is a much more logical and reasonable, seems like a much more I did meet him one time. Logical and reasonable person than a lot of other billionaires, right? This is within the scope of being a billionaire, right? Whereas
he's not super weird,
right? David Tepper just seems extremely bizarre.
He should just sell the team. Yeah,
it's not going to happen though. It's a mess, man. And I do enjoy like poking fun at my friends who are Panthers fans, but I also low key like want the Panthers to be pretty good because it's good for my city. It's fun. Like
Yeah.
you want that to happen.
By the way, related to this, JJ, I beat our good friend Rich Rebar on that DJ Moore reception last night
Did you in Apex?
in Apex. Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty
I'm
excited.
officially, I think I'm officially out in Apex, even though my team is kind of surging right now. It kind of sucks.
No, you can still make it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There was someone who said, Josh says, I'm vegan. You can eat chocolate. My chocolate thing goes beyond just the diet, just so
Right,
people
right.
know, just so you're aware. Next question at number 1, Punna. Which versions of Christmas songs do you consider the best? Example, which Winter Wonderland version do you think is the best?
I don't know about that specifically.
Yeah, let's just talk. Just give us some music, Christmas music takes.
Yeah, so I actually have a playlist. I'll share it with folks later. But like I think that Hall & Oates has the best Jingle Bell Rock.
Okay.
Because I think it's just crisp and
Yeah, I agree.
clean.
I think we drafted them last year and they were like a top 2-round pick.
It's really good, really quite good. Of course, David Bowie and Bing Crosby have the best little drummer boy, I believe. What else here?
My Christmas goat is Andy Williams.
Right, you're an Andy Williams truther from way back.
Yeah, I also like the Carpenters from way back.
Here's Joan Jett has a little drummer boy that rocks, that kicks my ass. I don't know how.
Wait, Steven in chat says, "Here comes the Foghat." I forgot about Foghat.
Oh, here comes the Foghat. That's right. I'm going to talk about the best Christmas song ever made.
The absolute worst take that we've ever had on this show is this.
I'm so upset. All I Want for Christmas Is You by Foghat. The Zoomers. Here's what the Zoomers say about that. It whips ass.
Is that what they say?
Dude, it whips ass.
Is that what they say? Is that a phrase?
That is what the kids are saying. I'm just reporting it.
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
that Foghat. I remember you said it last year, and I listened to it, and I immediately got a knife and took one of my ears off. It was horrible.
But thankfully, the people of Twitter/X told me that I was indeed right. So I appreciate that. Lou Rawls has a version of Merry Christmas Baby, which is really good. It's mostly about him getting drunk.
How about Wonderful Christmas Time, Paul McCartney?
I can tolerate that song more than most, but I feel like do you hate it? I forget.
No, I love it. It's one of my favorites. People hate it though. People think that it's a very, very bad song, but I'm a fan. I'm also, I won't lie, the last few years I've gotten more into, more post 2000s songs that have been popping up that are more original, because I just want to add some flavor to it. And I'll give a shout out. I've mentioned this on the show before. Dan and Shay, the country duo. Dan graduated high school with me. And so it's fun to see his journey. Like, they're very, very big and they're winning Grammys and stuff like that. But they have really good Christmas music. They're good with Christmas songs.
Real quick while we're talking about Christmas music, check out the Christmas album by the band called Booker T and the MGs from the 60s. Okay, this is an instrumental, but man,
instrumental's good.
It is so good, and you can have it on in the background, whatever, like while you work, while you cook, whatever. I think the folks will enjoy Booker T and the MGs Christmas album.
But did you mention Wham! Last Christmas?
I didn't mention them. I mean, obviously, I love.
But that's your 101, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. But Foghat's right behind it, folks.
I cannot believe. All right, we need to move on to.
Did you listen to it?
Did I listen? Yeah, it's horrible.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad.
It's such a bad song. I can't even believe that you brought it up on this show. You made us a D+ show, immediately turned us into an F.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, we were already bordering on the F, but
it was worse than my egg take.
Let's not compare those takes, okay? Your egg take is ridiculous. Mine is like based in some fact, at least.
What? There's no fact involved in that.
There's fact that the Foghat song is good as hell.
Or there's fact that my stomach doesn't get full from 3 freaking eggs.
Okay, but 6.
Okay, I'm just saying I can do 6. I can do 6. All right, we'll get to one more. At Colander Kurt, it says, "What was the best programming block? TGIF, Disney Afternoon, One Saturday Morning, Snick.
Oh, wow.
See, this might show our age gap because you are 15 years older than me. But my answer to this is Snick.
Snick. To remind me of what that is?
Saturday night Nickelodeon.
Oh, was that the one with
Snick.
the scary show? I like the scary show.
What, Are You Afraid of the Dark? You watched
Yeah.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? I can't remember if that might have been part of Snick for a little while, but I think peak Snick. It sounds like I'm saying like some sort of like slur or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Right. Peak Snick is it had like Keenan and Kel, all that. It just had like these like all that was unbelievably good.
I don't remember that.
It's SNL for 10-year-olds.
Oh, okay. I love sketch comedy. I've been a sketch comedy fan my whole life, but I don't necessarily remember that. I love TGIF. I looked forward to that so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. TGIF was good. We were actually talking about TGIF over Thanksgiving and the shows that were on there and how you can't possibly watch those shows today. Oh, someone said Kablam. That was also another really good one on Snick. But you can't watch those shows today and actually enjoy them. Like Step by Step is horrible.
They're all awful. Yeah, but I used to really like make sure it was like, you know, the term appointment watching. Like as a kid, that was my appointment watching. Like I had to be in front of a TV at 7:00 p.m. on a Friday to watch.
Yeah. Speaking of, I guess this isn't really sketch, but I'm going to see an improv show. I'm going to see Ben Schwartz in January. I'm pretty pumped about that. Have you ever seen, Ben Schwartz?
It kind of rings a bell. Who's that?
John Ralphio.
Oh, that guy's great.
Oh, it's amazing. He does great improv. Anyone who's going to be there in Charlotte in January, I'll see you there.
Just don't make eye contact with JJ.
I'll be wearing these sunglasses, so you'll be able to spot me.
You have to call him Daddy O.
Yes.
With the sunglasses.
All right, Denny. That's it for today's show. Why don't you let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, at CD Carter 13 on all microblogging sites, and you can find my regression files and my funnel defense report on NBCSports.com on Wednesday and Friday, respectively.
I'm on Twitter at LateRoundQB. All my stuff over on LateRound.com. Denny, I'm going to go make some eggs. You want to join?
No, my gosh. I'd rather have a milkshake.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Living the Stream. We hope you enjoyed the internet podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes now. It won't take long, it's fast. For more fantasy football info, check out
LateRound.com and NBC Sports Edge.
Hope you come back soon as we share about the teams and as we live in the stream.